You're being basically looked at for the amount of suicides at your prison, and kind of like an audit.
Sure.
And yes, we can agree, numbers don't lie, it's happened, but there's reasons why they happened, and protocol was followed. Why don't you go in depth on what they missed and why you felt it was important to go on your Facebook page and kind of defend your department?
Sure. Well, first, let me just say that anytime that we have a suicide, we obviously feel very badly for the family, the loved ones, the relatives who lost an individual while they were in our custody. And the other thing I would say is it's very important for people to understand, when someone commits a suicide inside our prison, that cuts to the core of what we do. Our job is care and custody. So when that happens, we look at those things with a fine tooth. What could we have done different? Is there something we did wrong? Did we miss something? We of course have to rely on mental health experts to tell us, where do you want this person classified? Do you want them on a 15-minute watch? Do you want them, we want that person on an eyeball watch around the clock, depending on we're not experts in that field. Mental health is, and that's why we have them there. And think about the mental health person that loses somebody. Do you know 6% of the people who commit suicide in this country die in mental health hospitals where all the experts are? 6%. How does that happen? Right? These are people that are experts in the field.
I think it is.
It's not. But here's the thing. What people don't understand, for example, we detox 2/3 more in Bristol County than any other sheriff's office of comparable size in the entire state. 2/3 more. An even more revealing statistic, MASSAC, which is the Massachusetts Alcohol Center for the state, they have about 200 people on average patients, about 69 employees. They detox 8.2 people on average per day. Do you know how many Bristol County does? 7.1. With 10 staff members.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, that's not a reason why those.
Is there any way to get more staff to take care of this, or is this something you're exploring?
Well, therein lies the question, because you could look at it two ways. One is you're doing a good job efficiently, or you don't have enough staff, and that's why these things happen. Our reviews of every one of those suicides that they talked about, the 7, however many years it was, that we looked at it with a fine-tooth comb, because we don't want our officers to go through that and see it and be involved in that kind of thing or have it happen, or the mental health people. We've been nationally accredited. In fact, we've received 100% on our national accreditation, which is almost unheard of. They review with a fine-tooth comb all your records, suicides, your medical protocols for inmates that were patients, all those things, the whole operation, soup to nuts, 3 days, 3 inspectors from different parts of the country come in, and they go over it like you can't believe. We got 100%, including the reviews on the suicides. The Correction Health Commission, which is a national commission that reviews prisons on medical care, reviewed all our files and said, you followed all the standards and the protocols of the highest standards in the industry around healthcare. The federal government inspects us every year. They go through the same things, look at all our files, look at the suicides, anything that's happening. They look at all that and they review it. And we want that. I invite that. I don't have to have an ACA accreditation, national accreditation, but I do it because I know we want to be the best we can be at what we do. And we want to be scrutinized because we want you to look at it and tell us we can do something better, regardless of what part of our operation it is. We also have the DOC inspections every year. We got no gigs on any of those mental health protocols or treatment. Now, do we still look for things? Of course. We developed a behavioral unit where the other sheriff's departments send their people, because we do have a behavioral unit that can deal with mental health people and get them into better behaviors and get back out in the general population. We had one that came from Middlesex. Middlesex said, we cannot handle this guy. Can you take him in your behavioral unit? We did. He worked his way through our behavioral program. That kid's gone back to Middlesex, and they've never had a problem with him ever again. And look, we all know that everybody wants to find someone to blame when a suicide happens.
Of course.
The truth of the matter is that as hard as you look at these things, oftentimes they're not going to give you any indication. And we train our officers to look for this stuff.
I had a kid that committed suicide when I was there. I went to school with him. And he did it right after talking to me, right after talking to another officer that went to school with him. You know, you did this, the process was overnights is you switch units to keep
Yeah,
fresh.
fresh, right.
You know, instead of sitting overnight, third shift,
Hey, it gets boring.
20 years goes by in your lifetime when you're supposed to sleep at that time. You just can't switch, you know,
Right.
all right, we're up now. You know, sometimes you get sleepy. So what you do is you implement a procedure where each officer switches after, I think it was 2 hours, 4
Yeah.
hours, whatever it was. I went through, other officer went through, another officer went through, then when all three of us went through, the next officer he didn't know, and he hung himself.
Yeah. But at the time
all
you,
three of us talked to the kid.
no indication.
No indication, because trust and believe. I didn't want to respond to a kid that I
course
went to
you don't.
school with hanging in his
Or
son, which I
anybody.
did.
Or anybody.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, and it was terrible.
Traumatic.
It's one of those things I didn't want to see.
Right. But you
And,
know, we had, and this is, you raise a great point. In one of our cases, the person had just hung up the phone with a family member, said, I'm not going to bail you. The guy was perfectly fine, got off the phone, went back to his cell, and that was it. The family member didn't even know. The family member didn't pick up anything on that, any indication. But we train our people, listen, watch the phones. If you see somebody that starts getting upset,
Yeah.
or you suddenly see a demeanor change, that they look like they're becoming detached or despondent or whatever, notify mental health immediately. If it ends up being nothing great, but we'd rather you notify mental health. And have them
Doing
check.
that 20 years ago
Yeah,
when I worked for you.
yeah.
We were doing that 20 years ago.
And
It's
again,
nothing new. You've done the process. I'm sure you fine-tuned it since then. I'll probably walk into a whole different jail today than I did back then.
yeah.
But
Well, as you improve in things, right?
Yeah, of
You don't
course.
expect to have more, right? You don't expect to have more. Because when you had less that you were aware of in learning as things evolved, because we became the mental health institutions, you would expect that there would be more. Not when you get better at it and you put better systems in, are you going to have, unless something else changes, which has to do with the opioid crisis, the
Yeah.
number of people we have to detox, all that.
that's